Hey everyone, welcome. If you've taken a drive out through rural America lately, you might have noticed something, well, completely unexpected. Amidst all the massive tractors and heavy machinery, there's this sudden explosion of tiny, right-hand drive Japanese trucks just zipping around farms, vineyards, and hunting camps. Today, we're skipping the usual agenda entirely to dive straight into a massive, hidden automotive secret that is quietly taking over the countryside. We're talking about the Kei Truck Invasion. To really understand why this is happening, we first have to look at what we can call the American truck problem. Over the last couple of decades, American pickup trucks have just kept growing and growing. Year after year, they've literally ballooned into these 3-ton luxury behemoths that barely even fit into standard parking spaces anymore. I mean, today, a new fully loaded American pickup can easily cross the $80,000 mark. But here's the kicker. Studies actually show that most of these giant pickups rarely tow or haul actual cargo. Okay, let's dive into this contrast because it's fascinating. On one side, you have the massive, expensive American pickup truck, a vehicle that, quite frankly, often spends most of its life just hauling air. And then on the other side, you've got the tiny, sub-$10,000 Japanese Kei truck. It's a classic David versus Goliath story of consumer demand. Farmers and contractors are finally realizing that for everyday chores, a 3-ton machine is just massive overkill. So they're turning to a truck that's smaller than a golf cart but built entirely for hauling actual work. Section 1. What exactly is a Kei truck? Let's take a look at this Japanese engineering marvel. So, space in post-World War II Japan was, and honestly still is, incredibly tight. Cities are packed tight, rural roads are super narrow. So to keep the country moving, the Japanese government created a highly regulated vehicle category known as Keidosha, which literally translates to light vehicle. Basically, if you buy a vehicle that fits within these tiny dimensions, the government rewards you with significantly lower taxes, cheaper insurance, and way easier parking. And let's be super clear here. We aren't talking about glorified golf carts or side-by-sides. These are fully street-legal, weatherproof vehicles built to survive decades of hard labor in Japan's narrow alleys and crowded farms. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact uncompromising legal constraints Japanese engineers had to work within to build these trucks. The rules are absolute. The vehicle can be no longer than 11.2 feet and no wider than 4.9 feet. Period. The engine? It's limited to a tiny 660 cubic centimeters. To put that into perspective, that's actually smaller than a lot of touring motorcycles, and the horsepower is strictly capped at 64. To get a fully functional, heavy-duty workhorse out of a footprint that incredibly small, well, it requires absolute engineering brilliance. Now, what's really interesting about this spec shootout is the sheer disparity when you put them head-to-head. Just look at the usable bed space. Because the Kei truck uses a cab-over design, meaning the driver sits literally right over the front axle, almost the entire 11-foot length of the vehicle is usable cargo space. Think about that. Roughly 80% of a Kei truck is just bed. Meanwhile, your average 6,000-pound American truck, getting maybe 15 miles to the gallon, it dedicates roughly 30% of its massive footprint to actual cargo room. It's crazy. Over in Japan, the market is basically dominated by the big 5 nameplates. You've got the Honda Acti, the Suzuki Carry, the Daihatsu Hijet, the Subaru Sambar, and the Mitsubishi Minicab. And the fun part is they all have their own unique quirks. Like the Honda Acti uses a mid-engine layout, similar to their sports cars for this really great balance. The Subaru Sambar actually has a rear-mounted engine, and some even came supercharged right from the factory. The Daihatsu Hijet, famous for offering factory scissor lift and hydraulic dump beds. Literally, there's a specific tool for every job. Section 2. Tiny trucks, massive utility. Let's look at why farmers and DIYers absolutely love them. So why on earth are farmers, landscapers, and DIYers suddenly ditching their $20,000 modern UTVs and side-by-sides for a 30-year-old imported Japanese truck? Well, it really comes down to rugged, practical application. These little trucks come with 6-foot flatbeds where all 3 sides can drop down completely flat. That means you can load pallets with a forklift from literally any direction. Many feature selectable 4-wheel drive with ultra-low crawler gears and locking differentials, so climbing muddy hills is a breeze. And because they only weigh about 1,500 pounds, farmers can drive them straight through soft crop rows without sinking or crushing the field. Plus, unlike a side-by-side, you're getting a fully enclosed steel cab with actual heat and often AC. Now, I gotta say they're definitely a bit quirky. Owners often joke that flooring that little 660cc engine sounds like an angry sewing machine trying to run a marathon. But honestly, compare that authentic, proven utility to some of the bizarre alternatives popping up on import sites today. We're talking about those fake, miniature Chinese Dodge Rams made of plastic that sell for up to $35,000 and use electric motors no stronger than a washing machine. The Kei Truck isn't some toy trying to look tough, it's a legitimate, durable work vehicle. But hey, it's not all perfect. If you're going to buy one, there are definitely trade-offs to consider. For starters, because the engine is directly under your seat, the cab gets extremely hot, especially if you're pushing it at its maximum safe speed, which is around 55 to 60 miles per hour. Safety features like airbags, pretty much non-existent in these older models. They're also prone to hidden rust since they spent their lives in Japan's salty coastal climate. Oh, and if you need new tires, good luck easily finding load-rated 12-inch specialty tires at your local American tire shop. It definitely takes a bit of hunting. Section 3. The 25-year import loophole, opening the floodgates to America. Let's move to the pipeline and see how this builds, because you might be wondering, if these were never sold in America, how are they getting here? Well, under federal law, once a foreign vehicle turns 25 years old, it magically becomes exempt from modern U.S. crash and emissions standards. This massive loophole means you can now legally bring them over through a structured import pipeline. First, you win the truck at a Japanese auction. Then you book ocean freight, clear U.S. customs and pay the tariffs, and finally, coordinate transport from the port right to your driveway. If you navigate this paperwork yourself, you can land a solid, dependable classic Kei truck from the 1990s for around $4,250. Or, if you prefer a turnkey, fully serviced truck that you can test drive today, specialist U.S. dealers will set you up for around $7,250. But bringing them over is really just half the story. Section 4. The street legal battle. Tiny trucks versus the rulebook. As these little trucks literally flood the country, state DMVs are definitely taking notice, and it's become a true legal patchwork. States like Texas have formally embraced them, passing legislation that legally classifies them as miniature vehicles, permitted on local and county roads. But in other states, DMVs are suddenly pushing back hard. They're refusing to register them or even going as far as canceling existing plates. Their argument is essentially that these 1990s Japanese trucks just completely lack modern American crash standards, side impact protection, and airbags. But despite all the DMV battles, the Kei truck has sparked immense curiosity entirely across the political spectrum. It has genuine bipartisan appeal. During a trip to Japan, even Donald Trump publicly praised how cost-effective and practical these tiny trucks are, questioning why America doesn't offer our own citizens such affordable transportation options. It seems that recognizing a smart, economical tool crosses all political lines. Everyone loves a tiny truck. Section 5. The future of mini trucks. Is bigger really better? So the crucial point is this. For decades, the automotive industry has told us that bigger is absolutely always better. But the explosive grassroots success of the Kei truck proves that millions of consumers are desperate for simple, affordable utility. And guess what? Automakers are finally listening. Seeing this massive demand, automotive giants like Suzuki and Toyota, through their Daihatsu brand, are reportedly developing slightly larger, left-hand drive Kei-style trucks tailored specifically for the U.S. market. These wouldn't be 25-year-old imports. They'd be brand new, highly capable work trucks that could hit the market with a starting price of just $8,000. It's a complete rethinking of what a pickup truck is actually supposed to be. It's about moving away from luxury status symbols and getting back to honest, dependable work. Which leaves us with one incredibly important question to ask ourselves the next time we look at those $80,000 giants sitting in the dealership lots. Do you really need all that truck? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.